How you doing, Nicky?
Oh, great. Looks like heck. So I'm playing baseball again, finally.
Hey, Nicky, what are the challenges for you to be able to pick up from where you were in spring training and kind of carry that over after a 3-month pause into this, condensed 3 weeks and get ready for the season?
Yeah, I think the challenge was, maintaining that, competitiveness throughout that layoff, basically. I was able to go and work out at in this surprise stadium and stuff like that, and the conditioning field, and was able to get my work in as much as I can there. So that was very important to us, and I was actually fortunate enough to be able to fly out or drive out here after May and move into my place here and start working out at Kauffman. So I was able to keep the weight on that I put on leading up to spring training, and basically just trying to stay locked in throughout this whole time off. But it was tough because you kind of never knew when we were going to pick up again. So it was one of those things that, you're busting your butt this whole time off, but you just really had no clue when we were going to pick up again.
How much were you looking forward to your first opening day with, big crowd, the pageantry of all that, and now obviously there won't be any fans. Have you thought much about that?
Yeah, that was something that I did think about. I was very excited because everyone says, there's nothing like opening day. And last year I got called up in May, so I wasn't able to experience it. But I was very looking forward to it. I thought I put together a pretty good spring training where I was ready for it. I was ready to make that next step. And but again, it's bigger than us. It's bigger than baseball. Obviously, this stuff is really serious, and we just got to take it one day at a time. But I think that we have to have that in the back of our mind that it is bigger than us. So I know that we're getting closer, which is good.
Thanks, Nicky.
Thank you.
Hey, Nicky, I know you guys were ready to go when you were down there in camp, and the rug got pulled out from under you, and then there was the labor part of this whole thing. What's your roller coaster been confidence-wise that you were ever even going to be at the K this year, being just a couple of weeks away, and now that you're there with the protocols in place, what's your confidence level that the season will actually take place?
Yeah, I'm super excited that we're back here. I know there's a ton of protocols and health stuff that we have to get situated, but if that allows us to get back on the field and play, then I'm all for it. Any way to do that. But it was a little bit tough because you hear one thing, on social media. You try to stay off social media, but that was that's where we got a lot of our information. So, but it was a roller coaster ride for sure. But as a young player, just breaking into the big leagues, you kind of have to start learning about that kind of stuff, because I know that people before us had to go through it too. Maybe not at this crazy of a stage because of COVID, obviously, but you kind of just have to pick bits and pieces out of everything and kind of learn and educate yourself on it. So I guess it was, if you try to pull a positive out of it, it was a good learning tool because you kind of saw both sides of everything going on.
And now that you're there, I mean, you feel like everything's kind of in place to get through any sort of positive test like Salvi has, that you guys will be playing in a few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, that's the mindset that we all have, and I feel like that's the mindset that we have to have, is just think that we're going to play, keep busting your butt and going at it like we are going to play, because I mean, if they do pull the rug from under us again and we stop, at least we were ready to compete. And I think we're doing a great job. The first couple of days have been looking really nice, and I think we are ready. So if we go about it that kind of mindset, then I think that you're ready for anything.
Hey, Nicky, last year, I know you talked a little bit about being in some of these places for the first time and experience certain environments for the first time because you're, first time being in the big leagues. Do you feel like this year with the condensed schedule and where you're going to basically be seeing the same group of teams more or less, is there any benefit to that where, you'll sort of get settled in maybe a little bit easier?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a benefit. We can put together a good stretch where anybody can put together a good stretch where it could pay off, and all it takes is a hot team at the right time, or a hot, if you come off to a screeching start and keep it going. So anybody can catch fire, and baseball's I think a game of streaks too. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, it's not the full schedule, but it's going to be a race, and it's going to be awesome. And I'm just happy that we're going to be able to compete again.
But how about like, but you individually, like, where last year there was places where, you were just getting used to being in, this ballpark for the first time. I mean, like, you're going to get the division, that, and then, I mean, there's going to be a lot of games in places that you're used to. It's not going to be so much new for you anymore.
Right. Yeah. No. Exactly. And being able to get my feet wet last year, I think, is going to be a little bit beneficial. Taking my bumps and bruises. I talked about it, I think, in an interview this offseason, is that it was, take a positive out of it. It's pretty good that, maybe I did get slapped in the face a little bit last year, just to, ride the roller coaster that, the big leagues has to offer. It's not going to always be, bright, and you're going to go through your bumps and bruises, but I think it's going to be more beneficial getting over those humps. I was able to finish the season off pretty strong last year, and was brought that confidence over into spring training with my workouts, and then into spring training where I put together pretty good spring training, I thought. So just kind of keeping that confidence up leading into obviously our division, and being able to go to and face people that I faced last year is something that's, I think, going to be beneficial.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Nicky, so much of, go ahead, Alec. Go ahead.
No, you go. Vaughn. Okay.
Go.
Nicky, Matheny's talked a lot about just how impressed he's been with the way everybody kind of showed up and the shape they've shown up and some of the different pitches and stuff that they've brought. I mean, how impressed have you been ultimately by how well some of your guys have looked showing up to this thing?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's been very impressive, and I talked about it a little bit in spring training, that spring training was a little bit more. It was different. There's a different environment around spring training this year, and there's a lot more energy, a lot more pep in our step, a lot more intent, and kind of just higher expectations. I think that's what it's coming down to. Expect to win now is something that Skip has kind of instilled in us. So expect to win now, and you look around our lineup, we have some dogs in our lineup, and then you look on the pitching side, we got some dogs there too. So expect to win now, and I think that it was very impressive coming back in these first couple of days, that it appears that everyone didn't stop working this break, so which is very encouraging.
Nicky, just sort of along the lines of some of the stuff you've been talking about, game's so mental, obviously, but how much does the virus situation, all that, add to your mental stress? And did you have to really think through any questions about whether you even felt comfortable playing this year, and you have to put on a different kind of armor emotionally in terms of how you deal with the situation day in, day out now?
Yeah, me personally, I didn't second guess playing. I want to get out there and I want to play with my teammates. But I do understand what those people that are obviously opting out around the baseball. I get it. And I respect their decision. So it's their decision. But I never really thought about it. The biggest thing is that I constantly just thought about how everyone should have probably a greater appreciation towards the game of baseball, and just a greater appreciation towards life in general, because it's crazy how fast something gets taken away from you. I don't remember the last time I went this long without playing baseball, and it's crazy how something like this can just pop up and we're no longer playing. So that was something that I had to get used to. Waking up every morning and not going to the yard was something very weird. But I'm just happy that we're back right now.
And do you feel at all distracted right now by just all the stuff you have to do to be, hygienically correct here? Is that complicated at all just in your mind, or not really? You can just kind of drill into what you want to do.
Yeah, no, it's definitely different. Because sometimes, Whit in the, last Zoom meeting, he was saying that you kind of got to hold others accountable. And sometimes we just forget, whether that's to sanitize your hands or put your mask on. And even when I'm away from the field, like when I get home from grocery shopping, wash your hands right away and stuff like that. So that's something that has kind of been a little bit difficult, because you sometimes forget, because you're not really used to it. And we've only been doing this for I don't know, a couple months now, but it's something that you're definitely, it's going to take some time to get used to. And we have these protocols set here at Kauffman, but if it gets us on the baseball field, I'm all for it.
Nicky, you had obviously you'd never participated in a College World Series, but you played for the school in the city that hosted the College World Series. Can you share your thoughts on what you figure, because I'm figuring that you probably still have friends there, on what it's been like for the city of Omaha to have had those major events taken away from it?
Yeah, especially this year too, because I know that they had a lot of events planned. Omaha is a great city, great sports city. I know if a lot of people aren't really educated, they think Omaha, oh, it's in Nebraska, and that they think that it's just cornfields over there. But Omaha is unbelievable. It's dear to my heart. But yeah, they had the Olympic trials there set up. They had obviously the draft, obviously College World Series, which draws a lot of fans and a lot of attention. So I feel for the city of Omaha, but hopefully next year or the upcoming years where they start figuring out some stuff about COVID and figure that end out. Hopefully, you can get back and Omaha can host those events.
Thank you.